Hello, and welcome to Improbable Things. I'm J. Grace Pennington, and this is my podcast where I share 6 improbable thoughts before breakfast, which consists of 6 thoughts about reading, writing, or storytelling in general. So I have got my 6 things ready. It's been a few weeks since I've been around, which I will explain in a moment, and for now, I'm ready to get started. So before I get into my 6 thoughts, I know that it's been a few weeks since I had an episode up, and I had mentioned I was going to have 1 week off because I was going to be on vacation, and since then it's just been very difficult to record. This will probably be my last episode for quite a while, certainly until the baby arrives, and then for a while after that. So I will be back, but I can't say exactly when. So it's just gotten very difficult to record in the early mornings because I have a lot of exercises I have to do to prepare for labor, and I have all this other stuff in the mornings and, trying to get what sleep I can. So it's just not working out very well for me to record in the mornings, and there's really no other time with little kids around all the time. So right now it's actually afternoon on a Saturday, and my husband has taken the kids out, so I thought I would snatch a moment just to record a last episode for you guys before I kind of move into maternity leave, which I'll also talk more about later. But anyway, here are the 6 thoughts that I have for you for today. Number 1, I realized I have not even done a podcast since Humanoid was released. So it was released on the 20th of last month, went really well, went smoothly. I've sold quite a few already and I've had really good feedback on it so far. So I'm really pleased with how that went. If you haven't read it yet, it is available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. And if you have read it, please do leave a review because it needs some, and all my books need reviews. Reviews are very helpful, and so I always appreciate, even if it's just a few words. Like, it doesn't have to be some really in-depth, like multi-paragraph type thing. Just any rating and just few words on Amazon is super helpful to me. So if you've picked that one up, I would really love to hear from you on Amazon. And yeah, that one is out and available, so that is very good progress. And number 2, speaking of progress, I have also been actually working on editing the next book, Intoxication, and it's going a lot slower than I was hoping. I was originally wanting to already have it done in May, but it's just, I know I talked a little bit about this, the further I get into pregnancy, the closer I get to my due date, the harder everything is. And so everything's just kind of been slowing down. And I'm still working on it, and my ultimate goal would be to completely finish my edits before the baby comes so that it can be off with the editor and being worked on while I'm not working. But I'm okay too if that doesn't happen, because I know this is a season where I need to be flexible. But that is my ideal goal. It's also hard to plan since I have no idea when baby will be here. Could be today, could be another month, who knows. So my goal was to finish marking up the manuscript this week, and I think I may be able to do it or be close. I only have a few chapters left, and I'm going to work on it some more this evening. And so yeah, I should be pretty close to that, and then try to get the actual rewrite done so I can get off to the editor within the next couple of weeks. So we'll see if that happens. That would be nice, but either way, there is progress being made. I'm still hoping to, some point during the summer, to get it up on Vella, and then of course let it run, through the process there, and then get it on paperback and ebook once it's been up there for 30 days. So sometime this year, y'all will be getting that one. And I, my beta readers, honestly, especially as far as the general plot went, there was not a lot of feedback on that. I think it's pretty solid. It was more just some tone things, or a few places where some things could be strengthened, stuff like that was the kind of feedback I was getting. So I don't think it's going to require a ton of rewriting, which is really nice because I don't have a ton of energy. So going slow but steady. And still, Lord willing, definitely going to get it out to y'all at some point during the year. And then number 3 on my other major project, revising the old books. They are all revised and they are all sent off to the formatter. So the first 4 are already released, and then the final 3 are at the formatters. I think she was hoping to get to them sometime in the next week, in which case I'll be able to get them up pretty quickly after that, and then that project will be done, which is so, it's just such a relief. I've been needing to do that for years, and I've put it off for so long, and like I've mentioned before, I feel like it just gives me more confidence in being able to promote the series, because I feel like it's so much closer to the best that it can be. So it will definitely be a happy day once those are all officially up and the series is really on track. So really happy with how that project has gone, and really proud of myself for actually buckling down and doing it despite feeling overwhelmed about it for so long. And number 4, going back to all the baby talk, I was given a baby shower exactly a week ago, by some friends from my church, and it was such a sweet time. But they chose to make it book themed, which of course was absolutely perfect. It was so sweet and gorgeous, and there was book decor, and they had asked, in addition to diapers and wipes, that people give books, and so we got so many children's books, and just all over the spectrum, from little kid board books all the way to more read aloud type books and everything in between, picture books, all of that. And what was really remarkable to me, we got dozens of books, and we did not get among all of those, there was no duplicates, and out of all of those, there was only one book that we already owned, and it even was a different edition. So that to me is just amazing. We have so many books, and we were given so many books, and I would have absolutely expected that there would be 2 of this or that, especially some of the classics, but that didn't happen. So we've got so many new books, and I went ahead and bought a little bookshelf off Facebook Marketplace the next day to put in the nursery, so I can move all the baby and board books in there and free up some more space on the bookshelf in the older girls' room for more books in there. And we freed up so much space that we have an entire shelf on the bookshelf in there that is pretty much empty. So clearly time to go get some more books, but we're super excited because, as you know, we all love books and we love reading aloud, and we've been slowly making our way through some of the new books, and it's our own library at our own house because we still have so many new books we haven't even read. So that's been great. My friends know me well and did such an awesome job making me and my family feel celebrated and celebrating this new little baby who I can't wait to also be reading aloud to as well. So number 5 am I currently reading. I had to take a break from Kingdom of the Colts because I had a couple other books that were a little bit more of a deadline to get read. And so I finished both of those up the past couple days, so I might dive back into Kingdom of the Colts. But in the meantime, one of the books that I just finished was my book club book for the month, which was Poor Miss Finch by Wilkie Collins. And Wilkie Collins is an author that I've wanted to read for a really long time and hadn't read any of, so I was excited going into this one, and I was ready to really enjoy it. And kind of similarly to most of the book club books this year, it wasn't it was bad or I hated it, but I just didn't do much for me. I couldn't really get into it. I don't know if it's my mood this year or if it's the books, but again, I saw a lot of good qualities in it, and I did find as I was reading a little more about the book that I'm not the only one that feels this way, and a lot of the things I kind of felt about it were the kinds of things that people said back even when it was published originally, which is that while a lot of the writing is good, and there were so many places where I really admired the turn of phrase or some observation about human nature, and I did write down a few of the quotes that I really related with and stuff like that. So and it did end up pulling me in a little more as it went along. So that was good. When it first started off, I was really not into it. and it did manage to make me more interested, by the end. But even still, first of all, I didn't really care for any of the characters. The narrator character was pretty good, but the rest were just I just didn't care about them. Which, to me, I think that's part of when I haven't been gripped by some of the books that I've been reading, is that there hasn't been characters that I can really love, which is my main draw to a story. And it's just the people and their relationships and their character growth and stuff like that. And so if I'm not hooked in by a character, and if I'm don't really find the characters that appealing, it's just not going to be the book for me. So there was that, but then also I really kind of struggled to get a grip on the tone of the book, because it was clearly very humorous and not meant to be taken entirely seriously. But it also clearly wasn't meant to be 100% comedy. It wasn't like The Importance of Being Earnest, where the whole thing's ridiculous from beginning to end. It was very ridiculous, but it also was kind of serious. And so I just think I kind of struggled with figuring out how I was supposed to take it, if that makes sense. I was am I supposed to feel something for these characters? Am I supposed to, it's just, how am I supposed to interpret this story? I don't know. And it definitely had a lot of interesting things to say. And it did also, I was really impressed by, and I was reading some more about this later, the authors, he clearly had done his research into, because the sort of focus character is blind, and just in the experience of blindness and some practical ways that works out, he had clearly done a lot of research into that, and that was very interesting and well done. But just the whole vibe of the story, it never quite clicked for me. Maybe I just wasn't in the headspace for it, I don't know. But between that and the characters, again, I didn't hate it, and I would, because the quality of the actual writing itself was good, and there were so many really great quotes, I would definitely still want to read more of Collins' other work. But this one just didn't really do it for me, so it should be interesting to see how the discussion goes at book club. So number 6 on my final thought for my last episode for a while, I just thought I would talk about kind of how it's been doing what I've been calling just drifting into maternity leave. Because unlike a regular job where you go to the office and you work a certain number of hours and then you go home, and then when it's time for maternity leave, if you're taking maternity leave, then you will stop doing that one day and then you won't go to the office. That's how I think I would normally think of that concept. But for something like this, where not only am I self-employed in a sense, it's very part-time, it's very flexible, I really don't answer to anyone but myself and my own goals, and so it's been a much more nebulous process to move into that season, where it's not like I'm working one day and not working the next, and it's not going to be like that. I'm gradually lessening my workload as I move along, and some of that is just, or most of it really, is just out of pure necessity. If I could choose, after the baby comes, I would absolutely choose to take a break and just focus on baby and healing and all of that. But if I could really 100% choose for myself, I would not be doing that yet. I would be working really hard, working my normal 1 to 2 hours a day to get a whole bunch done before the baby comes. But it just has become physically impossible because I am so tired. For one thing, I'm having to sleep during a lot of what would normally be my writing time, because I absolutely cannot make it through the day anymore without extra sleep. And so that's my option, is just to sleep when I would normally write. So that cuts the time at least in half. And then also just the mental fatigue makes it much more difficult for me to focus on work. So I'm having to I have to just do it in small chunks and just, change my approach a little bit to how I'm doing it. And then also just the fact that, I don't know, it's just sort of everything, even, just hormones also kind of change my outlook on what is important. I'm much more inclined to want want to really spend a lot of extra time with my girls right now because everything's about to change in the whole dynamic of our family, and these are our last days with just the 5 of us. And so I'm just like having a mental and emotional shift on that level as well, which I think is how it's supposed to be. Like, I do believe all of this is by design, like needing more rest, needing more mental rest, needing more intentional quality time with family. Like, all of that is for a reason and is an instinct that I need to be listening to, but then still trying to balance that with, I do still have goals, and I do still want to make sure that I'm intentionally making writing a part of my life and making progress. But one thing I've really learned, especially when it comes to balancing writing and all of this with family life, is that I just have to be very flexible and know ahead of time I'm going to have to be flexible with different seasons and even day to day. Like, maybe, I've talked before, like a day comes and one of the kids is sick and just really needs me all day, like I have to factor that into what my desires are for what I'm doing with my writing and with my stories. And so I always have known, like as soon as I got pregnant, I knew that I was going to have to factor that in to my plans for my series and for everything else. And so I've already been building toward that, and I already have known that this month some, and then next month for sure, I was going to have to slow down and or stop quite a bit of what I've been doing. So none of this is a surprise, but I think I was not expecting it to just start quite as soon, because I just always forget, even though I've done this 3 times before.